Hey there people, today's mission is to make a pick from this bit of crap metal from Peterson. So let's get a wriggle on. So the first step for me will be to take a pick, place it on top of the blank or the scrap, and just do a little bit of a trace around it to give myself the basic shape of a pick, and from there maybe I'll modify the shape just a little bit to make sure it's to my liking. And so with that much done, we end up with something like this. A fairly clear outline that we can now take to the grinder and remove the unwanted material and reveal the basic shape of the pick. Okay, so after a bit of grinding and dunking it into a cool liquid so we don't lose the hardened properties of the metal, we end up with something which looks very much like a finished pick, except it's obviously not finished because it just came fresh off the grinder. So the task for me now will be to do a little bit of closer inspection of some of these edges and do a little bit of rough finishing with a needle file, just so that I make sure that the shape is exactly how I like it and that there are no horrible little bumps along the edge. But that was a couple of minutes or more worth of grinding and we're all ready to this stage, so it's a fairly quick process with the right tools. And so, after a little bit of manicuring to get the shape basically how we want it, it's time to come in with, firstly, some 400 grit sandpaper. I'm not trying to do any polishing at the moment, otherwise I would opt for wet sanding. What I'm really just trying to do here is clean up a little bit to take off as much of the roughness on the edges as I can and make it as clean as possible. So, like I said, first stop with some 400 grit. Afterwards, I'll come in with some 1200 and clean that up a little bit more. And so after a little bit of attacking this with the 1200 grit to remove any rough edges and to basically clean the edges up as much as possible, it's time to come in with the 1200 grit and just refine those edges a little bit more. For the sake of clarity, always use good quality paper, otherwise your results are not going to be very good. Basically, with cheaper papers, the grain size is very irregular, and in your finish, what you will get are scratches due to those irregularities in the grain. So if you're looking for good results, don't scrimp and save and buy cheap sandpaper, because you're only doing yourself a disservice, and yeah, you're just going to create yourself problems that you wish you didn't have. So paper I'm using here is 3M. It is awesome. You should use it too. Or if not 3M, something else that is brilliant. So I'm going to keep going with this, and I'll come back to you again shortly. And so after a few minutes on the grinding wheel, a minute or two with the file, and another couple of minutes or so with some sandpaper, we end up with a not too badly finished pick. I've not done any polishing on this at the moment, but it's ready to be used, basically. So let me see if I can frame up a little bit better and show you the profile of this pick. And hopefully that can be seen clearly. Got a little bit of horrible reflection going on here, but that is the basic profile of this pick. Edges nice and clean. So it's ready at this point if I wanted to put handles on it and polish it up. But for the minute, I think I'm just going to leave this how it is, and well, that's a slightly better view there. So there you go. Making a pick with the right tools doesn't take very long at all.